All right, today we're going to go on a bit of a journey. We're starting at the microscopic level, an invader inside a single cell, and zooming all the way out to a global health crisis that has truly shaped our world. We're breaking down the science and the human side of HIV and AIDS. Okay, let's get into it.
It all really boils down to this one question, one that's fascinated scientists for decades. How can a virus, something so unbelievably tiny, manage to completely dismantle our body's amazing complex security system? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
To really get the big picture, we have to start small. I mean, incredibly small. We're going right inside one of our own cells to see exactly how this viral takeover happens.
Okay, so take a look at this. This diagram is basically the entire playbook for how HIV operates. This isn't just some random attack. It's a super precise, step-by-step invasion. Let's break down how this little hijacker takes control.
So HIV is a special kind of virus called a retrovirus. Now, what does that mean? Well, it kind of works backwards compared to how most life works. Instead of the usual DNA to RNA blueprint, a retrovirus shows up with its plans on RNA, and then it rewrites them into DNA once it's inside our cells. Pretty sneaky.
The whole hijack goes down in 4 key steps. First, the virus gets into one of our cells. Second, it uses this special tool to turn its RNA into DNA. Third, and this is the really clever part, it literally splices its own DNA right into our cell's DNA. And finally, our cell, which is now totally confused, starts reading this new viral code and just starts pumping out brand new viruses.
So, that cell is no longer working for us. It's been completely transformed into a non-stop HIV factory, just churning out thousands and thousands of new virus particles that then get released to go and infect other cells.
So what happens when these little virus factories start popping up all over the body? Well, this is where a problem inside a single cell explodes into a full-on assault against our entire immune system.
The main target for HIV is a really specific type of white blood cell, the helper T lymphocyte. Just think of these cells as the generals of your immune army. They're the ones who spot the threats and coordinate the whole defense plan. But HIV specifically infects and kills these generals, which, as you can imagine, leaves the entire army in chaos.
Now, in a healthy person, your body is just swarming with these helper T cells. They are constantly on patrol, ready to sound the alarm the second they spot trouble. But as HIV starts to replicate, it just relentlessly takes out more and more of these T cells. The number of your active generals starts to drop, slowly but surely making it harder for your body to put up a fight.
And eventually, that T-cell count falls so low that the immune system is severely weakened. At this point, the body is left wide open to infections that a healthy person would normally brush right off, things like bacteria, fungi, all sorts of other viruses.
In that state, that condition of severe immune deficiency is what we call AIDS, which stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. See, it's not just one disease, but a syndrome, a whole collection of symptoms and infections that pop up because the body's defenses have pretty much collapsed. Okay, so knowing the biology is absolutely crucial, but it's just as important to understand how HIV actually moves from person to person. So let's shift gears a bit, because this is where knowledge is power, where it really turns into prevention.
So the virus only spreads through very specific body fluids. The main ways it's transmitted are through sexual contact, getting a transfusion of contaminated blood, sharing infected needles, especially among drug users, and it can be passed from an infected mother to her child.
And it is just as critical to know how HIV doesn't spread. It is not transmitted by casual physical contact like hugging or sharing a meal or just touching someone. Understanding this is so important for breaking down all the stigma and fear that's caused so much unnecessary pain. Now, here's something that makes this virus particularly tricky. After someone is infected, there's often this really long period. We're talking 5 to 10 years, sometimes even more, where they might feel perfectly fine. This silent period where the virus is active but there aren't obvious symptoms is a huge reason the epidemic spread so fast in the early days. It just moved through communities completely unseen. And that's exactly why awareness and testing are so important.
The sheer scale of this epidemic obviously required a global response, one that had to be built not just on medicine, but on education, prevention, and a fundamental shift in how we treat each other.
And when you zoom out from the individual to the global impact, the numbers are just staggering. Since it was first identified back in 1981, AIDS has taken the lives of more than 25 million people.
And that's not just a statistic. That represents millions of families and entire communities changed forever.
This quote, it just cuts right to the heart of it all. The virus itself is a biological problem, sure, but it's ignorance that really lets it thrive. Misinformation and a lack of awareness are just as dangerous as the virus itself.
And here's the hard truth. Even with all our incredible medical advances, there is still no cure for AIDS. And that makes one thing absolutely crystal clear. Prevention isn't just a good idea, it is our most powerful weapon, period.
This is why health organizations all over the world, like WHO and MACO, have pushed for this multi-part strategy. We're talking about making sure blood banks are safe, ensuring clean, disposable needles are used, distributing condoms freely, controlling drug abuse, advocating for safe sex, and promoting regular checkups.
And this really shows us that the fight against AIDS is a war on two fronts. One is fought in labs and clinics with science, and the other is fought right here in our communities with compassion. People living with HIV and AIDS need our help and our sympathy, not to be shunned. Pushing people away doesn't stop the disease. It just feeds the fear and ignorance that let it spread in the first place.
This is a problem that can only truly be tackled when we all decide to act together. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've come so far, from figuring out a cellular hijack to building a global movement. So what's next? What new frontiers can we possibly conquer when the full force of medicine and the full compassion of society are finally truly united?